schedule, but that's because it's cold outside. Okay, the ANS meeting 1203. Gee. Welcome. We have apology from Rudy Talmax, David Mead, Les Carlisle, Colin Pitchfork, Sandy Pitchfork, Marie Brad, Jim Noble, Bob Clemson, Peter Dunstan. Is there any other ones that we can think of? Nope. Okay. Okay, we'll go into general business then. Our next meeting's on the 14th of October here at Phil's house. It'll start as usual at 8 o'clock. But the topic will be members' choice. All the members attending on October will be invited to bring up to 10 items to show and tell. So, members' choice. Yeah, we can still have coins, and banknotes, and everything else. It's your choice. But then it's always nice to have a look at other people's collections as well. Members' other collections. So that'd be interesting for sort of see what other people are collecting. Okay, we'll have to mention that our ANS conference, again, the 6th and 7th of June 2020. So how we say that? 2020?
2020, yeah.
2020.
Good eyes.
Good eyes, yeah.
2020? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a good year, is it?
Definitely.
Something
Good
to
eyesight.
Eyesight.
Yeah. 2020.
The eyes have it.
Yeah.
And this is at Coffs Harbour, the usual
Sanctuary
venue
Resort.
for our conference. The registration is $150. It covers teas and coffees, I suppose, lunches both days, and Saturday dinner and conference medal. So it covers the Saturday dinner as well, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
And the conference medal. You know, usually we buy the conference medal separately.
The accommodation at the Sanctuary Resort, you have to pay extra for that. It's not part of the $150.
No. And if you're making a booking at Sanctuary Resort, specify the room, whether you wanted a queen-size room, a super queen-size room, or a king-size room, because they're different rates. And if you just say, I want a room for myself and my wife, they'll give you the $140 room instead of the $130 room. So,
Fair enough. Okay.
so I mean, you know, if you like the $140 king-size bed, well, that's fine, but, you know, that $10 can probably go towards breakfast.
Oh, but you got the other side of the bed.
He mentioned wife.
Rod, why don't you get a penthouse and a few of us will go and stay with you?
Good idea. Yeah. They do have family rooms at Sanctuary Resort, actually. Yes. Peter, Tony and I have a family room with 3 beds in it.
Soundproof?
Now we get
Separate beds. Oh, yeah.
It's got to be soundproof.
We're wondering about those guys.
Yeah.
All right.
You let the cat out of the bag.
We will remind you as time progresses. Like it is in June next year, but I think it's important for everybody to understand that the conference is very important as far as I'm concerned, because I think it's fantastic. You know, it's good for meeting up with all the other members. It's good for understanding and learning more about numismatics. So this is mainly the reason why I go.
Well, of course it's good. I started it. It was a way of getting the friendship going with Brisbane, because things were sort of...
Yeah, they were pretty
drifting
rugged
apart.
at that stage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Well,
Where was the first one held?
Fort Macquarie.
Fort Macquarie.
But at the El Paso?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Right, so it was always the El Paso at Fort Macquarie. Okay.
Yeah. All right. We'll just make a mention of the Petersham Fair. The Petersham Fair is on Sunday, the 29th of September.
They sent us a flyer
Did they?
as
That's
a reminder.
Yeah.
I got 2 of them, one for the Stamp Club and one for the Coin Club.
Getting somewhat aggressive, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the Petersham Fair, because it's the fifth Sunday of the month.
29th of September.
Yeah. It's always on the 5th Sunday. If there's not a 5th Sunday, it's not on.
You don't get many of them now.
Hmm?
You don't have many of them now. You don't have to.
No, there's only about four. a year.
4 fifth Sundays
Oh,
a
yeah.
month, a year.
Yeah. So, okay, the And of Money Expo at the Lower Town Hall, 26th and 27th of October 2019. So, if you can just make a note of the 26th and 27th of October.
Saturday and Sunday.
I dare say that we'll be invited to man the information
I
table
sent
again.
them an email today telling Shelley, who runs it, saying, you better look at your website because it says it's the Sydney Expo, 26th and 27th of October 2018.
Yeah,
So I said, perhaps, you should change that. Some people might get confused.
Yeah.
And I immediately, when I saw that, looked up what 26th and 27th, whether it was a Saturday and Sunday, and sure enough it was. So
yeah.
someone's copied it from last year and just changed the dates but not the year.
Okay, so next at the next meeting we will be looking for
Volunteers.
to man the information table at the end of fair for that month. Is there any other general business?
Well, it should be recorded, the passing of Bob Roberts, I suppose.
Oh yes, I was going to mention that in my president's report.
Oh, okay.
So
Quite a few of us were at the funeral, Bob's funeral.
yeah,
Had
Bob
a
Roberts.
fairly good turnout,
yeah, it was nice.
and the reception was at Lane Cove Golf Club, which I didn't know existed, and we finally found it.
I did hear something that he wrote his own eulogy.
Yes,
Yeah.
more or less. He told Joe what he wanted. It would appear that Bob, before he got into numismatics, was a rock and roller, and he was involved in Australian television, putting on a rock and roll thing called Teen Scene. So early television Teen Scene was him, and according to Joe at the eulogy, before the show came on television, he was teaching all the kids there how to twist and do all the other rock dances and things. So, yeah.
It's
No.
in the Roberts magazine this month.
Is
His
it?
name back then was Robert Malcolm.
Yeah. And they
One
kept,
stage
and
it
they
was a bouncer.
at the funeral they kept calling him Malcolm.
Oh, did
Yeah, they specified the Malcolm bit.
they?
It was on the signs that said it was Malcolm Roberts' funeral.
Yeah. Malcolm or Murray?
Coming down the car tonight, there was an announcement on the radio about another new 50-cent coin coming out. Anybody hear about that?
No.
Well, there you go. And the bloke from the Mint came on, and it's going to have. I was concentrating on the driving because when you're driving down that freeway in a little car, you really and I didn't pick it all up, but it's as if it's to commemorate something about ASIO or something, but it's going to have. I've got it wrong, so don't quote me, but it's going to have some sort of hieroglyphics on it or whatever on the coin, and you go, and he doesn't know what that means. It's all technically secret, and you're going to be able to look that up on the computer, on a website, and find out what the meaning of it is. Now, whether it's
Encryption.
different on a number of coins, don't know, but that's. I thought it might have been in coin review. Coin.
I have read something about that, and yes, it is correct. There
What's
is
it
an
celebrating? So many
ASIO.
years of something.
Yeah, so many. I can't remember what exactly it is, but it is all about ASIO.
Years of the ramp.
X amount of years.
Ramp.
Yeah, so they're picking on all sorts of fun things to make coins out of.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
probably
so-
20 years or 25 years
Yeah.
since ASIO
But
started. so-
yeah, I did read something about that as well. So,
Possibly about 50.
but,
Because you'll have to queue up and get them,
They circulating coins or ones you have to buy?
No, I
there
didn't.
is a this Thursday for anyone that lives out Parramatta way. There's a pop-up shop at Parramatta with the Royal Australian Mint. You can get the new $2 police coins.
Coloured?
The printed coins, yeah. The
coloured coins.
The coloured
Coloured
coins for face value. So you can get a sachet of five $2 coins for $10.
Where in Parramatta though?
Church Street.
It'll be on their website.
Church Street.
That's this week,
Yeah.
is it?
But
I'll look it up and
you
I'll
have to
email
queue
everyone.
up to get them, and apparently they've changed the playing rules since the last few times. But now they're allowing people to buy up to 10 sachets at a time. So you can get,
How many's in a session?
five.
$10. The start point's $10.
So you can go for $100.
$100.
In the past, it was three
Three.
sachets at a time, and then you'd have to go back to the back of the queue and
Oh.
line up again. And like people were just doing that all day long, just
Ah, well,
going to the back of the queue.
maybe take a train trip out to Parramatta.
But they are there this Thursday. So yeah, have a look on their website.
Saturday,
Thursday.
Thursday.
Did I say Thursday?
No, I couldn't remember.
12th of September?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 12. All right. Any other general business? All right. Well, it's also our AGM, so we have to now open up the AGM, and we'll have some reports, and then we'll look for nominations for a new president, and treasurer and secretary, especially. All right, we'll start with the treasurer's report.
No, thank you.
Take one and pass them on.
Oh,
I made 15 copies.
I sent 15.
So there should be enough for us. There's 14 of us here.
You should have one spare.
Yeah.
Why don't we hand it down the line?
It's all right, I've got this far.
He needs the
I mean,
exercise.
it's supposed to be good for you to stand on your feet most of the time because it's good if you're suffering with dementia.
So you, oh, so you
There
remember?
we go. Right.
Take down a copy. There should be one spare.
One, too.
Right.
He's got one and you've got one.
So what is the annual membership for the club?
Staples in the wrong corner.
It might just sit on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report.
Don't mind sticker line.
I actually gave you all a copy of it so that maybe I don't have to read it all, but basically we finished the financial year with a surplus of $115.41. So that was good. I wasn't anticipating us making a surplus. I thought we were going to be in the red. But this was achieved because we didn't produce any printed reports.
Yeah.
So we saved the cost of the printing and postage, which probably would have been about $500. So instead of being 300 and something in the red, we're 115 in the black. So that was good. As you can see from the profits and loss account, if you turn over the page, you will see there's a profit and loss account for last financial year. So as you can see from that profit and loss account, our income and expenditure is around $11,500. So income was $11,617, expenditure was $11,500, so we're $115. So that's basically what our income is every year. It's that, and every year it's getting a little bit less because interest rates keep falling. The interest component has declined by about $2,000 from about 2 or 3 years ago as the interest rate keeps going down, and probably fall even more in the next few years. Our number of life members has also declined to 51 at present. If all the interest received was attributed to the 51 life members, it would mean life members are contributing $33.69 each. So we're eating into the capital allocation of their 20 years membership. Now, basically, when members take out life membership, it's so that they're sort of guaranteed that as the costs rise over the years, they're not paying any more. So they pay 20 years membership for life membership, and they don't have to worry about it after that. Now, in 20 years, the membership fee is certain to have gone up. So, you know, they're way ahead like that. when I took out life membership 20 odd years ago, 30 odd years ago, it was $10 a year was our membership fee. So, you know, I'm way ahead. And everyone else who took out life membership is, around then was way ahead as well.
Isn't it shocking to see 0 junior members?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does that tell us something?
Yep, that tells us that people aren't, well, I guess all the newest members we all are getting are all adult members anyway, so kids are not interested. You know, if grandparents give them coins and things, they'll go out and spend them.
McDonald's, here we come. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I know my daughter was telling me today how she used to love my coin collection because every time Mr. Whippy used to come down the street, she'd go and find it and take 50 cents out and buy an ice cream. And she said, "You never knew it was gone." Very true. Yeah.
My children used to do that for their lunch money.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the nice round 50-cent coins that I used to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids have been telling me too, how they used to dig coins out of my bottle, I put change in, you know. With all the stories are starting to come out now.
I used to put notes. Dad used to have a big lot of coins in it, and I used to always put notes in there. Because you wanted coins to put in the.
Put the notes in? Yeah.
Upset me for putting notes in there. Yeah.
The modern day children these days don't give you change.
Yeah. They don't use money anyway. Everything's on their phone. Yeah. So our biggest expenditure was for printing and postage of the 2019 conference journal. I only managed to run one auction this year, which gave us a small profit around $700. These auctions continue to be very popular and are the main source for members to find A&S medals. So, you know, the only place you're going to ever find A&S medals is the A&S auctions. And luckily members keep selling their lots and I can keep putting them in so that the newer members, not young, have a chance of building up a nice collection. Our sales of A&S medals and publications also produced $971, so that's pretty good for sales. So I thank the members for their support with the purchase of the January medals and the alternative, the medals in the alternative metal. This figure more than covers the costs of the medals that we give to members each year. Each year we produce 8 medals and distribute or offer for sale 4 medals. So we have 2 medals a year that we sell, but we have 2 varieties of each, so there's 4 medals. So we're building a nice stock of future medals. The Proclamation series has 20 medals with another 8 to be produced. So we've dished out 5 plus another 8, so 13. So I probably have another 7 or so at home that's already been produced, waiting for distribution.
So it'll be over the next 3 years we'll be finished getting them all or?
Yeah, in another 3 years' time we'd have made them all.
Oh, right.
Unless I can find a few other ones to add to the list to make it 22 or so. But then maybe we can consider the next series and start producing them. But perhaps that'll be somebody else's problem. You know, 20 years I don't think it's going to be my problem.
Oh, you never know.
Let's
You
see.
said you were going to retire.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, but it's not retire from the ANS. I might just retire this mortal coil, you know. 20, no, I'm going to be 76, 96, I don't think I'll still be doing this. But you never can tell.
We're all going to Mars then, that's where it's off to, I think.
Yeah, yeah, perhaps we'd all do it online at that stage, you know. We won't come to a meeting, it'll be a television hookup or something. I'm sure that'll be the way it goes. But I'm sure people will still want their ANS medals, so, you know, still have to have options. We also have produced a set of James Cook's medals, which I've showed you, to celebrate his 1770 mapping of Australia next year. And it's his 250th anniversary. So these medals are similar to our 1970 medal, There's 5 different versions. 2 that will be only offered to those attending the 2010-20 conference. And there is one other, which is a copper medal, or copper, which is for the best display at the conference. So I would suggest to everyone that they consider putting in a good display, because you might get this bronze medal. The only problem with the bronze medal, I asked them for 1, they sent me 3. So I'm debating, what the hell do I do with the other 2 medals? Do
Have one gold plated and one silver.
silver plated, or use them for other features, you know.
Well,
Or I'll put them
it
in
this
the
way.
auction and we can all make lots of money out of
If
them.
everybody goes to the conference and we all put in displays, there's a good chance that maybe there'll be 3 people that will all get the top vote.
I don't
And
know.
we can give 3 out.
As the president, you will have a casting vote if there's a duplication. So, you know, we'll leave it to you.
That's assuming that I'm president
Yep.
after tonight.
So we have the 5 different medals. Everyone will be given a Cook medal. They're large medals, like the James Cook medal we produced in 1770. They're almost identical to it. And so there's a silver medal that has a gold ANS logo on it, and that will be given to all members. Then there's a gold medal that has a silver ANS logo on it, and that'll be sold to all members who want one at $50. Not $50, at $15, I should say. So it's $15, so it's still pretty cheap for a big medal like that. And then there's the 3 conference ones, so there's 5. Because James Cook is a very popular topic, and putting my treasurer's hat on, I can see us making a few dollars out of these medals. I've made an extra 50 of each so that we can sell them to the general public, who I'm hoping will come to the ANDA fairs and things and buy them, you know, because we'll charge them $15 and they get a nice medal at $15. I'm pretty sure we'll sell it and we'll make some nice money, I hope.
What if you work hard and put them in the first day cover or something? There'll be stamps out and have you make your PNC, what do you call them?
PNCs, yeah, PNCs.
Yeah,
It's
make
called
one of
stamps.
those,
These-
because you go to a lot of stamp fees
These
as well.
ones, yeah, but PNCs are only bought by coin collectors. Stamp collectors are not interested in them in the slightest. You know, the stamps on them are common stamps. They couldn't care less. So it's only coin collectors who want the PNCs.
I do believe that there is some sort of Cook Society as well that has got quite a few members.
Yeah.
I know one person that is a member of that society. He's spent a lot of money on enduring the Endeavour replica going around Australia. Like he pays to sort of sleep on a hammock and work on a bark that doesn't sail very well,
Yeah.
and he loves it. Now he's looking at doing something with the Cook 250th anniversary as well, and I think his society would probably be very interested.
Be happy
in
to
those.
buy the excess.
Yeah. So
Wall
I
Shannon
I
used
think-
to collect Captain
Yeah.
Cook. Remember Wall?
But New Zealand had their 250th this year.
Sorry.
New Zealand had their 250th.
This
Cook
year, yeah,
This
they're a
year,
year
yeah,
ahead of us.
yeah.
And Wall had a nice collection of Captain Cook, you know, because he collected Cook memorabilia, and I believe Jim has it now, and it's going to be coming up in one of the future auctions.
Okay.
So finally made it there. Strange, I deliver meals to his brother George. I never knew he had a brother George, but
Oh,
he lives pretty close to where Wall lived,
oh.
down in Seaforth. And
Does Wall live at Seaforth?
Wall used to live at Seaforth. Yeah,
What's he passed?
yeah. He died about 10 years ago.
Good guy.
Yeah, but George also lives down there. Wall lived in Peacock Street and George lives in
He was a good guy.
Grandview.
Okay.
Right, our membership on the 30th of June was 161. Since then, we've lost a few members, and you know, we found out about Max Bullis
Bullis.
passing 2 or 3 years ago, so we didn't know about that. But we've added a couple of others, like we had 2 new members here last month,
That's nice.
and Brisbane's had 3 new members in the last couple of months. So that's how we are on that. And if you go to the very last page,
Excuse me, Rob, does that 161 include Brisbane members?
yes, everyone. It also includes the complimentary members, so it's the ones that we send to other clubs and things. We have 17 complimentary members, so we have 52 life, 92 ordinary, and 17 complimentary. And if you go to the very last page, that's where our accounts stand today. You can see in the very last page, we really haven't spent very much this financial year yet. I mean, they only started in July, so we're only a few months in, and we haven't paid for printing or postage or anything else. Printing. You remember the report, John?
Yeah, I'm still working on it.
Okay. As you can see, the grand total, because we haven't spent a lot of money, currently stands at $51,431.61. So that's pretty good, but we've got to get John to print the next report, and then I'll have to mail it out, so that's going to be 500 off that. I'm negotiating with our friends in China who make our proclamation medals about the next 4 medals for them to make. I have informed them that because the $1 went down 10%, but you know, I said to them, but I'm sure that renminbi went down the equal amount, so you know, maybe we shouldn't be paying the same US dollar rate. It should be 10% off, which would be more or less what you get and what we get. So I'm waiting for their reply, so as we negotiate the production of the next bunch of medals.
As long as spelling's right.
Yeah. That was my fault for not reading the artwork. They spelled coins or keons exactly as on the artwork, and I didn't pick it up. So, my fault. But all in all, you know, things look fairly good. Yeah. Whilst you guys keep buying the yearly medals and things, you know, we'll balance the budgets.
Right,
That's it, thank you.
All right. Do we need to move that this be accepted?
Yeah,
wanna-
I'll move it.
You move it? Matthew Lloyd. Seconder?
I'll second it.
All right, President's report. Yeah, well, another year has gone by so quickly. Just when you think things are progressing smoothly, turmoil strikes. I'm sorry to say that this report will be brief but to the point. There's been sad times during the past year with the passing of a number of members. It all started just after our September 2018 meeting at AGM, when my wife Kate passed away on the 19th of September.
Yeah.
Followed closely by Rod's wife, Heather,
21st.
passing away on the 21st of September. 2 ladies that stood by Rod and myself, allowing us to pursue our hobby of numismatics. Long-time member Mark Freehill passed away in January after a short illness, as did Bob Roberts in August. I was also informed that long-standing members Max Bullis and Gus Conn are no longer with us. May they all rest in peace. The monthly meetings have been well attended. The format of literature and display talks, as well as recent acquisitions and themed displays, maintain the interest of our members, but we need more variety. So if you have any items in your collection that you may have been researching, consider sharing your work with others. You may find some more information will be forthcoming. Our 18th biennial ANS conference will be held at the Sanctuary Resort in Coffs Harbour on the 6th and 7th of June 2020. Members from both Queensland and New South Wales, and hopefully a few from other states, will make the journey to Coffs Harbour to catch up with each other, admire the displays and be captivated by the members that present a talk on their chosen topic. Those of you that have attended our conference will know you become more knowledgeable in numismatics after you attend those talks. During the course of this year, Rod Sell has continued with the online auctions, or with the online auction conducted, because he only did one this year. Keeping the members interested, which is reflected by the top prices achieved on most lots, especially the ANS medals. As Rod pointed out, the ANS medals are always a hot item. And I remember once that I was at Tom Hanley's place and I was looking at his collection, and he said to me, I said to him, I says, how am I supposed to improve my collection when you've got everything? And he says, well, you've got to wait till I die. He was pretty blunt, but he was a nice bloke. And I think this is the way the ANS medals keep circulating, right? Even though you might think that you've got them, or we're not necessarily the members that are selling their ANS medals are not necessarily dying, but they're downsizing. They have to get rid of some of their stock, so therefore they put their ANS medals up for auction. So it's a way of getting the ANS medals.
We get the best prices, remember that. Bring them to me.
Mobilised premium.
The sellers pay 5%.
No. Seller pays 10.
10%. Yeah.
Buyer pays
Buyers
nothing.
pay nothing. Yeah.
Not 22.2. Yes.
22.2%. Yeah.
20% plus 2% GST.
GST.
22%.
Okay, thanks to all those members who have participated in giving a talk during the last year. I believe that the strong membership base and ongoing interest in the ANS's activities shown by all participating members will continue throughout 2019-2020. Thank you. Right, that's that.
Okay, so who's going to move that that be accepted? Frank? And seconded? Pat? All in favour? Carried, right. Who moved and seconded mine?
Matthew Lloyd and Ross Pratley.
Thank you. Right.
Okay, the next item is nomination for council.
I emailed everyone asking them if they would be prepared to stay again. The few who did reply said yes, and I'm assuming since the others didn't reply that they're saying yes because they didn't say no. So I would like to move that to save time and effort that...
Well, let's put it to the membership, like is there anyone that wants to take on the role of a council, as in president, secretary, treasurer? Anything? Anybody?
It's all been run so well, why would you?
Okay.
Congratulations.
Oh, it looks like
So
I'm the
since
president for
there's
another year.
no nominations,
So
and
no
since-
nominations.
are you happy to stand again, John? And I'm happy to stand again, so we'll put to the vote that the current current council members...
I can't do that.
Huh?
I can't put it forward on.
You can't put forward
I
what?
just said I was going to sit on.
You want to be president?
No, I mean, I was going to actually, what you just said, I was going to actually say yes. But I can't do that because I'm on the committee. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
Righto.
but you're happy to stand again?
Yeah,
aren't
yeah,
you?
I've sent you a message.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
All right,
So-
well, if everybody's happy with that, we'll leave the committee and
Current committee
Council?
stay on.
as is.
All in
And
favour?
we shall, all those in favour?
Aye.
And I'll show our appreciation
Oh,
for
yeah.
the good work that they've done.
Long may they live.
Thank you.
And serve.
They're on the council.
Council re-elected.
Okay, now, we have to discuss the item, and I'll get Rod to explain it to you, that the life membership applications be suspended until the interest rates return to 5%.
We can, David Mee sent me an email when he sent his apologies. He was saying, yes, he agrees with that, but he reckons that we should sort of review it a few years in the future to see if the interest rates stay at 1%, can we consider another life membership format?
Well, you mentioned something in your report that the cost of life membership to the ANS is what?
Well, I was just saying that basically life members give us 20 years membership. And that we put that 20 years membership into the bank and we get interest on it. In the past years, where we were getting 5% interest, but we were getting more. I mean, at some stages we were getting 6, 7, 8% interest. But where we got 5% interest on 20 years, that works out as the equivalent of 1 year's membership. So basically they were giving us 20 years. If it was 5% on the 20 years, we're getting their yearly membership every year as interest. What the advantage that life membership has to the member is, one, they've paid it up, they don't have to worry about paying up every year. But two, if there is an increase in fees, they don't get hit with it because they've already paid for their life membership. And within the 20 years, there's sure to be an increase in fees. 20 years down the track, if the ANS is still going, it's not going to be $40 a year. It's going to be a fair bit more. So that's the advantage to them. Currently, where interest rate is 2% if you can get it, we're eating into their 20 years capital very quickly. You can assume that in 20 years' time, we'd have just paid off what they paid us. If they had membership for 20 years, they've already paid 20 years membership. But in 20 years' time, the membership might be twice what it is now. So there's a head. But there's a fair bit of work goes into getting fees and what next off everyone. So from a treasurer's point of view, life membership's wonderful. That you pay up once and you never have to worry and chase them for money and what next again. But economically, at the present moment, it's just not worth the while.
Not worth it, no.
Yeah,
So what is the current,
Rod,
what is the current membership?
20 years membership,
No, well, what's the current normal membership worth?
$40 a month.
$40 a month.
Yeah. So when you and
Month,
I,
a year.
sorry, a month, $40 a year. Sorry, yeah.
Gee, I'm glad I'm a life member.
Yeah. When Matthew got life membership at the same time as I did, $10.
Yeah.
And,
That's for 50
I mean,
years, yeah.
consider that was 25, 30 years ago, but it's now $40. So, we project 30 years down the track, it's going to be, $100 plus for.
Well,
for
we've
life
got
membership.
actually costing them.
You have to bring in pensioner rates then.
We only promoted it way back then because we were really low on a bank balance,
Yeah.
and that's why it was promoted. And we took on extra life members. And
That's
as Rod says, how it's panned out.
Currently, if we didn't have other sources of income, like the auctions and the medals and what next, we would have to put our membership fees up because we Well, we probably get $200 a year or so from auctions and, or maybe even more, $400-500 a year, because the money we're getting for the medals is more than covers what we spend, but what we're spending is sort of 4 times, you know, it's this year's and next year's sort of thing. So we're getting ahead. So, but our balances are pretty good. When we started, about around the year 2000, when I became treasurer, we had about $49,000 in the bank, and that's when we started the first project, the centenary project, where we were going to give a yearly medal to everyone up until our centenary. And you know, Bruce charged us quite a bit of money to make those medals. They worked at about $10 to $15 each that we paid for those, and we gave one to everyone. When we first started that, our bank account went right down to about $43,000 from about the $48,000 it was. And as treasurer, I didn't like that very much, but I knew we were making medals that we were going to give to members. We'd recoup that, which we've done. Currently, we have $51,000, which is good. So the last 5 or 6 years since we started making these medals in China, we spent a lot less on producing medals than we did with Bruce, and we're making a nice little profit out of them. So financially, we're doing well. As the treasurer, I've always wanted our balance to be 50,000 or more. 50,000 seemed to be the magic number in my brain to say, get to 50 grand. So we're there now, 51. But I know we're 51,000, but you know, once you've got your reports printed and I mail it out, and once I've made the next bunch of medals, which is going to cost us $900 or so, you know, that'll take care of that. But we still have to get the subs from Brisbane, etc. So there's more money to come in, and there's a lot more interest to get for this year. October we have a couple of term deposits that give us pretty good interest. So I'm anticipating at the end of the year we'll be over 50,000 and we'll stay over 50,000. My calculations I've done for the conference already is it's going to be revenue neutral. We might even walk away from the conference with a few extra dollars in our pocket.
Well, let's just get back to the motion that we've got, that the life membership application be suspended for the time being until the interest rate goes back up. And, you know, just looking at it, I suppose, when was the last time we had a person applying for life membership? Because now that it's $40 per year.
I had one query from Joe Detling about a month ago, when I said, oh no, we don't take life membership anymore, we're discussing closing it.
Okay.
And that's when I approached everyone to say, hang on, we've got to close this because it's just not economic.
Yeah, okay.
So should that be worded new life memberships?
The wording is so that life membership applications be suspended until the interest rates.
Yeah. So okay, so that's what we're proposing. We've had a few discussions. Anyone else want to say anything about it, for and against? You know, anyone that's sort of contemplating becoming a life member or applying to become a life member? No?
Well, you can when it gets back to 5%.
We accept donations as well.
But,
That'll be a while still before that happens.
look, based on what David Mee had said, that he would like it to be reviewed, maybe we'll change the wording slightly, that
Well, we can
that it be
review it any
suspended,
time. I mean,
reviewed every 2 years or reviewed every year?
we can bring up a review. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the motion anyway.
No?
I mean, it's automatically in 2 or 3 years' time, we'll see what the situation is like, and if somebody can suggest a revenue neutral format for life membership, we'll consider it.
Yeah, okay.
Rod, What's in your mind that we need to have $50,000 in your account, in the account?
My mind was well, it was that if you have 50 grand, it really gave you that interest, or used to give us a certain amount of interest that would be supporting of the club. The way I saw it, $50,000 at 5% interest would give you, two and a half grand or so, and you could more or less run the club with that sort of money. But today, it doesn't work.
I think the funds are very adequate, what we've got.
Yeah.
For instance, what you're saying about the conference, in mind that we might work away with a small profit.
Yeah, I'm
I
thinking
think that's
$20,
the
$30.
Well, I think that's the wrong way to go about it, because I think setting the price at what it is, I think it puts some people off from attending, and I think if anything, the society should be thinking of subsidising it a little bit because of the travel expenses and the accommodation.
Setting the price at $150 does cover their meals and the medal. I mean, basically, they're not paying anything extra. I mean, so they're just covering costs. We have to pick up the hire of the conference room, which is $220 a day. So that's about $450. So yeah, but we can do that.
Yeah, I'd just be surprised. It's a pity if it puts some people off. It doesn't. I'm not worried.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that some members might be put off by
They'd probably be more put off by the room rent than the conference rate. I mean, we do have some members who sort of take their own caravan and or have other accommodation up there. So the accommodation, if you're a single person just sharing the room by yourself, like our friend John Kennedy is, he's got a room at $130 a night. So it's sort of 3 nights up there. That's almost the conference rate. So the accommodation is more of a killer than the conference.
Sure. You're bunking with your mates like we do. Well, it doesn't cost as much, does it?
All right, well listen, how about we vote on this motion? If everybody's happy with the suspension,
Until interest rates return to
until the
5%.
interest rates return, can I have a show of hands that say everybody for? Okay, it's unanimous. So
My concern is, when are we ever going to get to 5%? That's, I think, is the dilemma.
Well,
We've actually put a knocker down below.
Just one quick question, John.
Yes.
Does that fit with our constitution?
yes.
Do we need a certain number to vote on it? Or?
No. We have a quorum here anyway, and according to the Constitution, I brought it up last month, we discussed it, and I emailed everyone, and when I sent the medals to everyone, I put a note in the letter that went to all the members who didn't attend this meeting. So everybody, including the people not on emails, have been advised that this motion was going to be put forward. So we've done everything as per the Constitution.
Yeah.
Which is why we're spending time on it.
Yeah, no, it was just a question.
all right, is there any other items that members would like to discuss at the AGM? Is there anything? Nope, okay.
Yes.
Right, we'll close the AGM and go back to the general meeting. As one of the members pointed out that Bob Roberts passed away on the 13th of August. So given that we only just found out about Max as well, I think we should be upstanding for a 1 minute silence for Bob Roberts and Max Bullis, our past members. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. As I think as Pat pointed out, is it the eulogy that's going to be published in the Numis News?
In Bob Roberts'
In the Numis News. Okay, right. Well, I suppose most of the members get that that newsletter anyway, so you will all learn all about Bob's younger life, or his past. So yeah, it was quite interesting because it was, yeah. I've always known Bob as a person older than I am. Yeah. And yeah, he would just come out from behind the wall in his shop down at Wynyard, and he'd come in and start talking to me about things, and yeah, it was quite interesting. Some of the people that I know that used to go down there quite regularly got on quite well with him as well, and you know, he always had time to sort of talk and discuss and everything, you know, like about numismatics. So it was quite good of him. Yeah, unfortunately he wasn't always there towards the last few years, but yeah, I still managed to see him on occasions. Yeah, he even spent. I remember a few times we managed to get him to our meetings, and
he would talk a few times.
Talk about different things.
You go talk a few years ago, wasn't it?
Mm.
We were at the
At Cassim's.
Chasm, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was always quite interesting. So
He started some of the first symposiums too,
yes.
which were really good.
Yeah.
In the Menzies Hotel there.
Yeah, that was mentioned in the eulogy, so yeah, it'll all be spelled out
They were
there.
excellent, well attended.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah, well, he
speakers.
had people fly in to those symposiums, and you know, like he was really active in that situation. You know, back in, like I think he started in 1966. That shop, I think it was
66.
66. Yeah. Yeah.
3 years ago.
I don't know whether it sort of coincided with the fact that we turned into decimal currency at the time, but you know, one of the things that they said at the eulogy was that his wife at the time basically said, "Yeah, get rid of all this rubbish." So he went out and started selling it, and then he was making that much money that she decided to change her ideas, and he then opened up the shop. So it was good. So.
The reason he said he gave up golf was because it was too easy a game. He told me that.
Yeah. No, he always had a sly comment at times, you know. When we first went into business and concentrated on the decimal currency, you know, that was back in, I think, around 1978, something like that. And you went in there and asked him if he had any decimal banknotes, and he'd look at you and he'd say, no, I spent that. You know, he wasn't into that at all. And it's funny how times go round, because when the polymer came in, and it was virtually my turn to sort of say, I'm watching Rod with the PNCs and interested in the polymer. I'm thinking, polymer, oh my goodness, who'd bother, you know? But I'm bothering now because I'm finally, the ding dong, the bell's rung, you know, so it's definitely worthwhile.
You mentioned polymer. The two signatories on each of the banknotes, Secretary of the Treasury and the Governor of the Reserve Bank, in the last 5 years, each year we've had different set of signatories. So there's been 3 different governors of the Reserve Bank, and there's another one coming now, and there's been two different governors of the Reserve Bank and 3 different secretaries of treasuries. And when you sort of look back, we got the new $5 note in 2016, but John Fraser became Secretary of the Treasury 2016 was the new $5. John Fraser became Secretary of the Treasury in 2015. So to get the old style $5 note issued in 2015, it was the only year that had John Fraser's signature. It was Graham Stevens and John Fraser. And you try finding that $5 note, it just disappeared. You know, they brought the new one in, and all the old ones disappeared, and that 2015 $5 note I don't think really circulated very much. I've got one nice one and one lousy one, and those are the only two that I've ever found. And I've been looking.
Talk about, like how Bob Roberts used to always sort of have some funny remarks and everything else. The little card that they gave out at the funeral, at the service, had a picture of Bob with a few of the people like Joe Detling and
David Allen?
David Allen was there,
Yeah.
and a few others that I don't know. But guess what Bob was doing? He was crouching down, going like this. He was always the sort of person that probably would always have a bit of a joke. So he was a happy old guy.
He was always very fair, though, in his numismatic dealings. I always found him very fair.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, certainly.
And you did a lot to promote it too, through
Yeah.
newspapers,
Yeah.
columns, and through
Radio.
the radio.
Radio.
And he was also a customer of Amor's, producing medals.
That's right, he used to do his own little medals, you know? Yeah.
We just had to produce better ones.
Right then. Well, anyway, you'll be able to read all about it in the next Numis News. And if you're not on their mailing list, give them a call. I'm quite happy to put you on the mailing list for the next 12 months. So that's
Yeah.
it.
Next month in October, the new $20 banknote comes out,
The 9th.
9th of October. The interesting thing with this new $20 banknote is that halfway through the printing, they changed the Secretary of the Treasury.
Oh dear.
So there's two different lots of signatures on. Philip Lowe is the one signatory, but there's two different Secretary of the Treasury. So I'm assuming the AA to whatever it is one lot, and then the continuation is the other Secretary of the Treasury. So if you're collecting by signatures, like me, you have to look for two lots.
Oh, so is that the $50 and the $5, the new 20, is it?
The new 20, yeah. Yeah, 9th of October.
Life October.
Will there be a spelling mistake?
I don't know.
Depends
Will
on
they
what
spell the Secretary of the Treasury's name wrong?
I don't think Rod's doing the proof of it though, is he?
Oh, that hurt.
All right then. Let's move on to the topic of the night. It's past 9 o'clock. We've got numismatic medals and items from clubs. Yeah, numismatic medals and items from clubs and societies. So we're talking about the ANS medals that are very popular at our auctions. We can start by sort of looking at medals that maybe we haven't seen before. So who's got some medals that we want to show?
I'll start.
You'll start?
Instead of finishing, I'll start. I'm sure these are all medals you have never seen. Or you might have.
Well, if you're making them, you can,
He makes them.
have them made to order for your uncle.
He's probably got the only one that's got the coin spelt the correct way.
I haven't seen that one.
Mexico.
That's a rare one.
Yeah, well, that's a bimetallic.
Society
Rod's got
of
bimetallic.
Numismatica de Mexico. So, my friend in Mexico collects bimetallics. Surprise, surprise. And he was he was quite an important member of the Mexican Numismatic Society, so they had to have a bimetallic medal made for the society. I bought one off them. But this is sterling silver, or might even be 100% silver. Mexico, of course, has silver. They know silver, so they made it silver.
What's it celebrating?
And in Mexico, when you look at their coins, they always have the eagle and the snake as one of the symbols that they have. So it's there. So it's the
Numismatic.
29th convention,
27th.
numismatic convention in February 1999.
International too.
Yeah. So this was put out for that. So I'm sure most of you, or perhaps all of you, have never seen this medal before. Okay.
It'd be interesting to know how many countries use the eagle as part of their emblem, you know?
Well, maybe you can put forward a
many
topic.
of them.
Maybe you can put forward a topic for the night, it being
Gee whiz.
eagles on coins.
I'm a member of an internet group called the World Internet Numismatic Society, better known as WINS. And it's been going for quite a long time. And they produced this 15th anniversary. So it's been going since the year 2000. And in 2015, they produced this one, sharing knowledge worldwide. It's been 15 years. So they produced a silver and a copper version of it. So that's the WINS medals. Coming closer to home, we've probably all seen this one before, put out by the NAA. This is one of the NAA medals that they put out. Captain Cook presenting a medal to Tasmanian Aboriginal in 1777.
How were they distributed?
They were distributed at the conferences that they had at Macquarie Uni. They used to produce 100 of them. There was 100 medals produced. I think it was 80 or 85 or so in copper. Then there was a silver-plated, I think it was, one that was given to each of the speakers there. And then there was a silver one that was sold at the auction, and Tony managed to buy 2 of them for an exorbitant price.
Not that one, though.
No, not that one.
Who made them?
They were made in Adelaide, so whoever makes them...
Peter Lane organised.
Yeah, Peter Lane organised them down in Adelaide. I'll show you what's on the other side.
Just the NAA logo, I think.
They use the same obverse several times. This was the reverse of one of them, and it was NAAC 2013 up in Brisbane, but it was also in Braille, so they had Braille for whoever. It was to sort of celebrate the bicentenary of Braille or something other that year, so the reverse was in Braille. Another one that was produced, again, was the NAA. They produced this one. I think this was the very first one. I think Bruce Canning produced this one for them, the NAA. And NAAC 1995, I think it is, or 1999. Can't see the year properly.
2009 at the end, didn't you? I think it's 99.
2009.
2009, yeah, 2009 Australia. So that was the first one, and Bruce produced this one for them. Bruce tried his damnedest to get them to make it bimetallic, because when you do a bimetallic, you have quite a lot of options, because the following year you could do it with the metals reversed, or you can add different metals. So, you know, instead of using copper, you can use brass, and you can make 6 different sort of combinations very easily by doing exactly the same thing, but it's just the same metal. But they didn't accept that, so that's the way it is. Also, Bruce produced some of these for Tasmanian Numismatic Society. So they've gone into hibernation now, so they no longer exist, the Tasmanian Numismatic Society. But before they did that, they had their 50th anniversary or something, and they had these for the 50th anniversary dinner.
That coincided with your 100th.
Yeah, 50 years younger than us.
Yes, so that I had to get those because they're bimetallic. And you can also see Bruce made them because they're very similar to the ones that we had made. And that's my contribution, thank you.
Thanks, Rob. That's
No, I
one.
didn't bring anything.
That. No?
Hey, yeah.
And Ross.
Anybody else?
Ross.
I've got a couple there.
Ross.
I've got a
Mm.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, there they are.
Medals.
Medals.
Not postal notes.
No.
I saw some
I think that's
Kiwi.
a little bit sad, really, you know, and it demonstrates how they lack. They're whinging that they don't have money, but they could have offered a different metal version of those to the society members who sponsored them. We kicked the NAA off with about
$1,000.
$1,000, was it?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, $1,000.
Anyway, besides the point. Okay. Now, it's interesting to make medals, design them and produce them and then wonder whether you're going to get your money back or anything like that. But then it's also really good to get awarded a medal. In those instances, these were 2 different years, 2010 and 2015, where I exhibited Echollectus parrots, ones like these, out at the Royal Easter Show. I used to show dogs, and that became a bit of a chore, but we did get a dog at one stage that really enjoyed it, and that was heartening, and we did well with that. But the birds were good in that you just took the bird along in a cage and then went home, and then the next morning went and prettied him up, or her, and waited for the judging. And you could even stand there watching the judging. Whereas the dogs, you had to groom the dogs. And I groomed the birds too, to an extent. But to think that you actually bred the bird and then you let it mature, feeding it good gear, and watching how it turned out, because you bought the parents and you were trying something different. So these are quite rewarding. I think they're outstanding medals. They're 70mm in diameter, these ones. And then my wife got involved in it, or I pushed my wife to get involved, and she presented quilts there. Now she's won on each year that she's got, exhibited a quilt, and the quilt takes 12 months to make. And she was awarded the top notch on each occasion. There was a monetary reward with hers, which I certainly didn't have. I think I got a bag of birdseed or something. But the medals are certainly a nice medal. Now I got those medals because of the subject. I got the medals out and thought I'd have a closer look at them, and maybe if we turn them over, that one. Forget my wife's one. That's pretty.
It's being recorded.
Oh, is it?
She'll see it on YouTube, and
All right.
you better
Now, if we
explain.
can have a look at these two a little bit closer. That's a pretty good image of it. I reckon I got diddled with this one. That's the 2010 one. Now, you look at it and you say, now, hang on, and compare it with the other one.
That one looks better.
Doesn't it look better? And I thought, they must have had worn dies back then, you know. But then I started to look at it even more closely.
Award
And can you pick
exhibited
up something at all with the two?
It's got more relief.
with what?
With the two medals, I'd say that's the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have a look at them more closely, you'll notice they picked up an idea
chicken.
of putting a poultry item in it.
Yeah, the
And
chicken.
then they also added the wood chopping. Right? So I rang them up, and it was Parks that made these, and we can go back. It's intriguing. No, it was G.A. Miller. So they're made by Miller. Gustav Miller was a Swedish-born craftsman who was apprenticed to Amor during the last decade of the 19th century. In 1900 he left and formed a partnership with Morris, trading as Miller and Morris. They established a factory in Bond Street, Sydney, moving to Goulburn Street. They're now relocated to Rydalmere. So these are some of the other items, because I think Tony would be interested in these, the badges and such. So we'll get you to present that, show those off and such. But then it's interesting to go back through the, you might have picked up the date on those medals of 1822, since 1822. So that takes us back to the colonial times.
I'll be getting to 200 soon.
And some of the, what would you call them? I suppose they're the Jim Nobles and the pitchforks of the time. They had a meeting in George Street near the lumber yard. That was near the corner of Bridge and George Street, Sydney. And they decided that this would be a worthwhile endeavour to put on an exhibition. And so the following year they had their first exhibition in 1823 at Parramatta. Later on it was moved to into central Sydney and then to Moore Park. And then in more recent times, about close to 1998, out to the Olympic Park. They started off with medals back then in 1823, and then one award was even a dump. They presented an award of a dump to them in the early times. The Sydney Gazette of August 25 records that there was 3 large gold medals, 5 small gold and 13 large silver and 2 small silver. I inquired with Millers how many of these that they produced, and the girl came back to me, and they minted approximately 300, and they hold them, and the RAS is probably like the NAA, short of funds all the time, so they'd only draw the numbers they need each year from that 300. The description of them is that they're 70 millimetre diameter, so minis of approximately 300, and the metal's brass with an antique gold finish and lacquered. The smaller one, the 51 millimetre one, is copper with an antique silver finish. And then they say that their metals are available in a range of base metals including copper, brass, zinc and precious metals. Metals can be polished, matte, antique look or painted and more. So then the society went through when they moved to Prince Alfred Park in 1881. The rent became too much for them, so the City Council offered them 40 acres of scrub at Moore Park for an annual rent of £10, and that's the show that I remember going to. And that was the show actually that I'm sure that was the one that I even took part with the Royal Australian Mint in. In 1891, Queen Victoria honoured the society by permitting the use of the word royal. So the society subsequently became the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales. In World War II, the Sydney Royal Easter Show was cancelled for 5 consecutive years when the showground was requisitioned for the military use, and some 700,000 troops passed through the grounds. By the late 1980s, the Sydney Royal Show had outgrown Moore Park, and in 1994 the government approved the relocation to the Sydney Olympic Park, and the first show was held there in 1998. So as I say, it's good to get an award, and certainly a lot of work goes into the competition. It's a prestige award, but with the dogs we even though to us we had the best dog, we didn't really stand a chance because curly-coated retrievers were down the list of popularity sort of thing. And of course they have professional handlers for them. And going back there, that brings out more laughs, because when I started off, I couldn't believe how well this guy had the dog in the show ring. The seriousness of the dog, you know, and every movement was, and he's taking stuff out of his mouth and giving it to him. So I collared him and asked him if he'd be interested in showing our dog, because I wasn't doing the greatest of jobs with it. And in fact, one of the earliest shows with a puppy that I had, and when you exhibit the puppies, there's every breed's around, but curly-coated retrievers was early in the piece. The judge came round, and puppies have noodle sharp teeth, and our bloke Axel managed to mouth the judge. That's putting it a nice way. She had to scramble out and get first aid. She came back and everybody's waiting, and she comes back in and she says, "Look, I'm very sorry, but I'm going to have to excuse you because I know the dog didn't mean to do it, but that's just one of the rules." Rossi exodus. But then I showed the puppy in its brood as a curly-coated retriever, and the words going around, come and see this. Come and see this dog getting shown. He'll bite the judge for sure, you know. And so there's people all around the ring, and the judge knew what had gone on, what had happened, and he said, "Look, I'll just spend a little bit of time with you of how to exhibit a dog." And he showed me some more ways, but it went on for about 15 minutes, and it normally takes about 30 seconds. But anyway, that's getting away from things. The parrots, yeah, they're quite exciting. And then Carol's quilts. Well, I had somebody, because a lot of the public come in and such, and I got approached by a chap to buy one of Carol's quilts, and Carol had given it to me for my 70th birthday. And I even said to Carol, I said, "No, look, honestly, you know, I know the work that's gone into it, but you know, it's too good. I wouldn't have it on the bed. We put it on as a wall hanging. It's a work of art. It was all on Australian wildflowers." And so I ended up, we got $8,500 for it.
Yeah.
So hoping she's back at home still making up the next quilt to win the
Was she happy with that price?
show. Yeah. Oh, that was a crazy price. We put a crazy price on it. I suppose the most they could sell for normally is probably about $2,000 or $3,000. But as I say, this was, you know, and they put it in the Hall of Excellence and such, a cabinet of excellence.
Did she claim maker's fee?
Yeah, yeah.
Ross,
Copyright.
when you get these
These-
these medals, these presentations,
Mm.
like they give it to you. You know, like they finish the judging and then they give you the medal.
No, there's a
The medal
special
comes-
presentation at the birds are in. You bring them in one night, then you go home. Then I go back the next morning and titivate them. That included spraying them with magic spray and feeding them what they liked. And of course, these ones, one was a cockbird and was Aussie, and the hen was Clarisse. And it's best if they're animated. You know, like if they just sit there on the perch and they're a nothing item, you want them to perform. And so a bit goes into it, sort of thing. So they're a bit humanised. The only trouble with Aussie was he's so humanised and so friendly because he'd been we'd hand reared him and such. He wasn't keen on breeding. In fact, he'd rather spend his time with me.
Did you get him out on your arm and on the shoulder and all that?
No, we did that. We introduced that in another area. And who was that gardener guy that got into trouble recently?
Burke.
Oh, Burke.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Burke was infatuated. He saw what we did there, and this was our Parrot Society put on this display out there, and we did like what you're saying for the public. But Burke came and said, I'll do. I know the people who run this. I'll come out and we'll do this with budgies. But he never did. And a bit certainly full of himself, and peculiar in that he tried to breed small budgies. Now the English budgies are quite a size, and English budgies had come out and they've done wonders with the breed. But the bush budgie is a really small budgie. The wild budgie is a very small bird. But that's what Burke was trying to do with the Budgerigar Society, was trying to breed smaller birds. Why? Don't know. Anyway, birds are out. We've got to get rid of birds. Then I can put my hand up to be on the committee or something.
The question that I had was that
Yeah, sorry.
when they presented that medal to you, how did they get the inscription on it at that time? Did they give you the medal and then they get it engraved later, or did they engrave it straight away?
See, that's one of the things I've got to keep to myself, really.
Oh.
You engraved it.
Yeah.
Righto. George, let's go.
I'll get all my stuff. Sorry, George. No, go on.
Yeah, goes with that.
Just a couple of medals here.
Yeah, oh, you're right.
I knew I dropped one. The Newcastle Numismatic Club in Adamstown produced a club badge of pounds, shillings and pence to dollars and cents. Nothing exciting. It's got the pound, shilling and pence on the reverse, and the map of Australia with a boomerang underneath. I've been to several of their meetings. It's a very, very friendly and close related club, and they run an auction quite often, and sometimes the very big bank banknote collectors. I've joined the MCC in the early 70s, and I was with them for quite a few years. Then I had to give it away because of the family, young family, and I rejoined again. And I'm still a member of the MCC, and actually the auctioneer. We have an auction every month, and we've produced several medals over the last decade or more. Here is one commemorating the 100 years of flight. Another one here at the 75th anniversary of the Harbour Bridge. Members of the club assembled at near Taronga Park there, North Sydney, and we marched across the bridge, and we all got a diploma for the march and a hat. I think that I once presented you with one. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
One other medal here is the 500th General Meeting from 1965 to 2003 with the President's names on the reverse. And the fifth last one, believe it or not, is none other than Mr. Rodsell himself. I had quite a few medals at home from overseas corn clubs. I was a member in London of the London East End Corn Club, and one in the States, the California Southern Corn Club in San Diego, California. One more here is a Smithfield Stamp Club lapel. I have a few lapel badges from different corn clubs in France and England. This one goes back to the mid-40s. Smithfield. You know, anyone know where Smithfield is? It's
Way out west.
Out west.
It's still running. Smithfield is still, Stamp Club's still there.
Now, that's the lot.
Thank you.
Maurice? Nothing? John? Ray?
No.
Ray? Come on, Andrew. Ray.
Of course, the bag's just ready to pour apart, isn't it?
Oh,
Well, going back quite a few years, I was at the time member of the Presbyterian Fellowship of Australia. I used to go to church and whatever, but I'm dark. Some people used to, some still do.
I've got one of those somewhere.
I got a few of them.
what, collected or you were collected or you actually...
And is that Amos?
Oh, no,
Right,
no,
Amos have made that, haven't they?
I'm not too sure.
I think
It's that long ago.
Oh, that one, that's
No.
Bertram Brothers, Melbourne.
Yeah, I was at St
St
Andrews at
Brothers.
Leichhardt.
I was at St Andrews at Longland.
There we go. That was back in about 57, 58, something like that.
That would have been simple.
Yeah. I was a member of the Brush Park Bowling Club for a few years. Not that I ever did much bowling. Now, unfortunately, there's one of those clubs that's now been taken over by Carlingford Bowling Club. And at the moment, there's no bowls as such. You can get a feed, but they're like so many others, they're going to redevelop the thing into units. And
That's right. The land is worth so much money now.
yeah. Oh, well, we're one of the few clubs at the time that actually owned the property. So one of the members was the Lands Department or something who owned their land originally and was able to negotiate a sale. And so at the time we bought it, so it was one of the very few bowling clubs that do actually own the property. And then for quite a few years I was a member of the Australian Institute of Construction Supervisors. And a bit like yourself, you know, there was an occasion where the treasurer said that he got pretty sick and couldn't continue, and wanted a new treasurer, said, I'll fill in for the rest of the year. 15 years later I says, hey, that's it.
What year would that have been punched out? You reckon?
That one?
Esto Perpetua. What does Esto Perpetua mean? Something perpetual?
Perpetual something. I must admit I never did inquire into it. Yeah, that would have been, what's that, 60...
Standing forever, probably.
62 on.
More.
No, I haven't got that one.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I've got a smaller version of it as well.
Miller.
That's a Miller.
Miller.
G.A. Miller, Sydney. Okay.
Yep.
And then we come on to a couple of the...
Pardon me.
I haven't come across one of them. Bill.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's still going now. I know, like so many other organisations that, you know, the membership just, like ourselves, you're going to get new, younger members sort of thing. And then,
That's right. It's a problem with all societies, I'm afraid.
of course, these damn bags, I'll have to leave that one.
Sydney.
Come on. That's our Eastwood District Orchid Circle, which I've been president of and committee member for yonks and whatever else. That's why I'm finding it at times difficult not to get to these meetings because we clash. And whatever. And then that's
What sort of orchid's that?
I'm not too sure. It's a no, well, I won't guess.
Sure, it's not a cauliflower.
No, it is an orchid of some description.
Little fluffy dog.
Looks more broccoli, doesn't it?
I know what it is, but I just can't remember what the name is.
Broccoli orchid.
And this one is from a Douglas Orchid Society in Queensland, which is way up past Cairns somewhere. I forget exactly where it is now. But that's the Cooktown Orchid.
Ah, right.
Just up the
Mossman. Up in Mossman.
in Mossman. It's up past Cairns,
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I was working in
Cooktown,
Cairns for a little
Mossman.
while and went for a bit of a drive further up the coast.
They spell it with double S, Mossman.
Yeah. And this is one in from the Orchid Society of New South Wales. It's a meritorious service badge, but it's actually given to me by Eastwood, but is sort of sanctioned by New South Wales, the Orchid Society.
See, those badges, you see, that's acrylic, you see, they've gone away from enamel because
Yeah.
they're expensive. And that's unfortunate because that's what is cheap with the sort of badges, they scratch more.
Oh
and
yeah,
all that sort of stuff, you know.
This one has the epoxy finish though, that
Yeah.
should help the scratching.
Were sort of.
Yeah.
But
But the epoxy scratches too.
Yeah, they all scratch.
I know I've got a couple of others, but I just couldn't find them. But anyhow, it's a bit of arrangement.
Thanks, Frank. Anyone else? No? Right, well, I'll finish up. Finish up tonight, and then we'll have our refreshments. I think most of you guys know that I'm also the president of the Illawarra Numismatic Association.
Yeah.
No, really?
Really? You roped into that one as well. Back in the year 2005, we had a couple of members down at Wollongong that decided that they would like to start up a society or an association. So we started out the Illawarra Numismatic Association. At the very first meeting, based on the fact that I was collecting medals and coins and everything else already, and I knew that our friends up in Queensland really kick-started their club up there by producing a medal for the Story Bridge, I think it was, wasn't it? The Gateway Bridge. And
They copied us for doing the Harbour Bridge.
So anyway, I copied both of you then because I said, well, listen, the Seacliff Bridge was like back in I think it was 2003. The coast road kept caving in every time it rained, so they said, right, we're going to build a bridge. So it took them a fair while. They designed this new bridge that actually did a suspension bridge outside. You go in the ocean, away from the shoreline, and they produced this bridge. There was a bit of a problem with that particular medal because of the fact that no one knew what they were going to call the bridge until the last few months. Right, everybody was speculating it was going to be the Lawrence Hargrave Bridge because it was Lawrence Hargrave Drive, the name of the road that they were replacing. So, but then they put the whole thing out to the children of all the different schools around that area as to who was going. Like they all asked for submissions as to what they were going to call this bridge, and the Seacliff Bridge ended up being the one that they selected. So I think we had about a month or about 6 weeks before they decided, before the opening of the bridge, when they announced what they were going to call the bridge. So we pulled out all the stops and we managed to get the medal made in time for the opening. So it was a sellout. We produced the bronze medals. We produced a pewter coloured medal, the same thing, silver medal and a gold medal. The gold medals were they were gold coloured medals naturally, but they were given out to the members of the association. But we also produced about 20 more, and we gave them to the roads and transport people that built the bridge. And so the workers on the bridge actually got one of the gold medals as well. So we sort of figure that eventually they'll come back on the market anyway. But so that's what we did. But yeah, as I said, we had a bit of a sellout. Every medal got sold. We thought we'd do a restrike, but that didn't work. But, like I said, once the bridge was opened, it was old news, and no one.
How many did you do?
We did 1,500 bronze ones. We did 500 pewter coloured ones, and then 200 silver coloured ones, and about 100 gold coloured ones. And but we had a lot of people join the club the very first year because they wanted the medal.
What's the next year?
The second year they just didn't renew, so it's a bit of a shame really, but anyway, that's the way it went. So that was the first medal that the Illawarra produced, and we made a fair bit of money on that one, so that that sort of kick-started the club, and so that's what ended up happening. So then a few years later, we had an invitation from the Shell Harbour Council because they were having their 150th anniversary, and it was sort of a situation with this particular medal that the Shell Harbour Council, they were starting to sort of advertise the fact that they were going to have all these celebrations and everything else, and then one of our members came along and says, we should make a medal for that. And so anyway, one of our members and myself, we went down to the Shell Harbour and had a talk to the people down there, and they basically sort of said, yeah, we were thinking about a medal, but the Royal Australian Mint was going to charge us too much. So he said, we can do it for you. Alright, so, yeah, we basically, I think we made about 500 of those ones, and sort of basically they were all sold straight away to the council, and they were going to give them out. They were going to give them away. So we produced a pewter coloured one and the bronze coloured one. But if you have a look on the, that was their sort of logo when they first started, and then on the other side is their modern day logo. But one of the things that we said to them is, says, look, as a numismatic association, we want to sort of have a bit
That's
of
your
title,
logo underneath,
bit of
isn't it?
title to this
Yeah.
thing, and because they wanted both sides, but we, you know, if you look closely,
You can see the tree, Illawarra flame tree.
Oh, yeah, of course.
it's a little
yeah.
Illawarra flame tree. So we managed to get the Illawarra flame tree on that medal, as small as it might be, but yeah, that indicated that we were the manufacturers of that medal. It's
Who
like a-
did manufacture?
Millers. We used a company down in Wollongong that ultimately had Millers make the medals. So so that was the second medal that we made. We made a few other medals, but this one here I designed this one when it was the centenary of Anzac back in 2014 or 2015. 2015. Yeah. So I designed this one, and you know, like I tried to get everybody down in the club down there to sort of give me their input, but I think it was all me that ended up having to do the whole thing because they were more interested in collecting modern day coins rather than doing medals.
It's easier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what you want.
I just say, this is what I want, and they all agree. So,
Yeah, that's how it's
yeah,
nice.
so anyway, I used the one of the medals that I already had, which is the medal from 1915, and sort of basically, again, there was a lot of arguments about the fact that you couldn't really use Anzac, because they got a bit upset if you started using Anzac, so I just wrote the whole damn thing out. You highlighted the first letter, so you can sort of see A for Australia, N, Z, A, C.
Oh, I see what you've done, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all, I capitalised the word Anzac. So that's what I ended up doing. So yeah, that was the third one that I designed. So I didn't
Nice.
want to bore you with all the rest
Nice.
of them, but
Nice
there
medal.
were ideas of producing one for every year and then making a series out of the Anzac medals, but there was no interest in it down in Wollongong, so we just canned the whole idea. So.
How's the club going down there? Is it sort of getting new members, or are you losing them, or what?
Yeah. No, it's like we generally get 30 or 40 people a night down there.
Oh, good.
We had to move to bigger premises because they couldn't fit into the boardroom where we first started. So now we're down at the Dapto Lease Club now, and we've got a room basically as big as this, and they set up the tables for us and they set up everything for us. It's really good.
They expect you to be members, do they?
Oh, well, we always $5 a year or something.
Yeah.
So
Everyone has dinner there before and a few
Everybody
beers.
joins, and then then you get all their propaganda every month. The lucky members draws and all sorts of stuff. But we had to move down there because we just couldn't fit in the Fig Tree boardroom anymore. So now we're down to the Lease
Is
Club.
the Leagues Club, it should have good parking?
Yes, lots of parking. It's a good venue. It's just a little bit far for me, but it's good for Matthew here.
Almost walking, it's about 15
He
minutes
can
walk
walk.
from my
He
place.
can walk there. Yeah, but no, they're going quite alright.
Is it pretty close to the train station?
It's not far from, it's
No.
only across the road from
A
the
couple of
railway
blocks
station.
away
Yeah.
from the train
So
station.
anyone who's coming by rail
Yeah,
can get there easily?
yeah, no.
It's only about 5 minute walk
Yeah,
at the most.
Any trouble with it? No?
All right. Well, look. Thank you all for coming tonight. The refreshments are ready. Don't forget our next meeting next month here at Phil's house again, and I'll see you all then.
Topic is
Thank you.
items of your choice. So bring
Motion to-
bring up to 10 items to show and tell. Something different.
Those are good.
Have you done these ones? Take them first.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, good designs, John. You don't need more than one person.
Pretty handsome, isn't it?
Once you have two people involved, it becomes a mess.
To try and stamp
Well, that's
large
fine.
medals
Just
is
like the
really
first
difficult. That's why I was admiring
Really
the ones last month, you know, when they had those Louis ones.
Yeah, well, I wasn't able to make that one.
You know,
No, no, Morris. See you
There's
next
sort of some
month.
work in them.
how are you going?
Not too bad.
Pretty good.
I did have a bit of a scare earlier. Libba was